So today is Chulin Daf. Yeah, we already started Perikid Anasha, and we're in the middle of the Shaila that the Mishnah says that it's Noig B'Mukdashim, and the Shaila is how is it possible that it's Noig B'Mukdashim l'chura what out Enis Achalalisa, right? So the Gemara. So we tried to say that it was Vlad Kachim, and we wanted to know if it's Vlad Kachim, the Chura Kodesh is Chal before the Gid is created, yeah, or the way Taisus learns before it turns into a from basa to a Gid, and the question is, it should be a problem of Ein Issa Chal Al Issa. That's the Gemara's kasha. So before we get to Gemara's teretz, I just want to read a very, very, very important Taisus. You say it's the Taisus. Taisus asks the kasha. Taisus asks the kasha that l'chura on the second half of the top Taisus. Taisus asks the kasha that l'chura that how would Gid Anosha ever be chal? Every Gid Anosha is being chal on Eva Menachai. And l'chura ein esa chalalis. That's Taisus' kasha. Yeah. So there's a lot to be mafalpul about this. Not the least of that the pshat is that the question is if Taisus is referring to Eva Menachai or just Basa Menachai. There's a lot of Greg is mafalpul. That's in general what Taisus' kasha was. But Taisus says three truths. One teretz Taisus says that EF shel isa gid anasha ben yinache. It's like a zabahachli chayv rachmana. And the third teretz Taisus says is that Eva Menachai is only chal once it's noilad, once it comes out. But no, Eva Menachai is not that. There's no Eva Menachai b'chayev. This is not going to stem with, again, this is all Taisus l'shitase. They never learned the sugi of Cheskes Isser, I'll say Eva Menachai like Rashi, and there's always a problem of Eino Zavoach. So like Taisus, we don't need Eva Menachai to be a long-standing Isser. But Rashi, in all the sugyas, always held that Eva Menachai was a long-standing Isser. So for Rashi, it's not negated this last teretz. Yeah, that's the first teretz of Taisus. Yeah, is Taisus has a different mahalach. The Gemara wanted to say that Eva Menachai is not going to be chal, is on Mikdashim it's not going to be chal because kachim de sekaris mishamas lay, but that's kachim. But about Eva Menachai will be chal. That Gid Anasha will be chal also because it's not even nidach. Yeah, that's the Taisus' three terutzim. Very important Taisus to discuss. Why how Eva Menachai is chal b'chlal. How Gid Anasha will be chal. Okay, so the Gemara, so everything. Gemara Elohacha bim v'vakeres askinon de berechem kadosh. That the pshat is that what here we're talking about. That we're not talking about we're not talking about a Vlad Kachim. A Vlad Kachim, the pshat is it's Niskadesh b'mei iman, right? It's Niskadesh b'mei iman and b'mei it's Niskadesh b'mei iman. At least at this point, the Gemara is naming on. That was the Gemara's assumption all along. That if we were talking about Vlad Kachim, we assumed that the Kachim happened. The Vlad Kachim is b'mei iman Niskachim. And the question was that the kedusha of that the Issa of Kachim is going to preempt the Issa of Gid Anasha, which was the which is what we were asking until now. So the Gemara, no, two teretz. One teretz is that we're talking about a b'chayra. We're talking about a b'char, and b'char, its kedusha comes out when it is when it only starts from when it was noilad. So b'shas that it's noilad, the kachim started, and by then already the Gid Anasha is completely formed. So Mela Gid Anasha is what was chal before, and that's what we mean. That it's noig b'mukdashim. That Gid Hanasha is noig b'mukdashim by bechar. That is one teretz, and the second teretz is there's a second teretz the Gemara is going to say is that our whole assumption that kachim is b'meim on iskachu is not so pashut. The fakert that we're going to say that even a vlad kachim, even though it's niskadesh because it is in its mother's stomach, but this vlad's kachim, its independent kedusha only happens from when it is yotzeh. The lashon of Gemara is elach mevakeres askin the berachim kodesh. V'yibo yisema berachim kodesh is when it's born, when it comes out. That the pshat is that Vladis Kachim don't become Kaddish from when they were Bevladam, only Bahaviyasam from when they were born. We use the Lashon of Bahaviyasam, Rashi says, because the Lashon of the Pasuk that we learn at the bottom, like the third to last thin line, the makar that Vladis Kachim or Kaddish is from, it says Asher Yiyulach. Asher Yiyulach elu Vladis. So it's mamish. So we use that pasuk of that language of Havaya to tell you that Vladis Kachim Haviyas named Kedushim, that they become Kaddish from when they're born. So Mela, if the Kedusha is gonna happen at the same time as at the same time or after the Gid Hanasha, so Memela, obviously Gid Hanasha would have already been Chal, and Memela, it's not going to be preempted by Kachim, and that's the Gemara's teretz for our Mishnah. Yeah?
Is the Kachim Chal?
So Kachim won't be Chal, but by Mvakeres it's possible. Again, Tosfos is naming on that again, the question is, when is the Issa Gid Hanasha Chal, right? We establish that the Gid doesn't develop right away, but it develops b'mei iman, right? So when's the Issa Gid Hanasha Chal? So assuming that it's so assuming that it's assuming that the Issa Gid Hanasha is Chal before, so then Gid Hanasha will be Chal and Mukdashim will not be Chal. Yes. Yeah. But Rashi says, Rashi makes it as a Mamon of Shach. Rashi says Mamon of Shach. Because even like the tzad that Gid Hanasha is not noig b'shalul, in other words, it's machlekes Rabbi Yehuda and Rebbeinu if Gid Hanasha is noig b'shalul, right? So even like the Manda'ama that holds that Gid Hanasha is not noig, even like Rabbi Yehuda that holds that Gid Hanasha is not noig b'shalul, and Mamel Gid Hanasha is only going to be chal for b'shas leida, good. So it'll be chal at the same time. Yeah. We had a machlekes. Now here, the next Gemara is a very, very complicated Gemara. Not only because there's a Girsa issue, but besides the Girsa issue, there seems to be the Gemara seems to be a machlekes Amoraim about a machlekes Tanoim. And one of the fundamental problems is why the Gemara didn't say Aleim Ketanoi? Why don't we say Aleim Ketanoi? The Achronim discuss it. But the Pashtus, we'll see if we have a Mahalach maybe to be Miyashiv the Gemara. But the Pashtus is that the Gemara is a mamish. It's a machlekes about the same shaila about what's the halacha legabe being makter the Gid Hanasha. Till now we had a shmuz about eating the Gid Hanasha. Now there's a shaila about haktaras Gid Hanasha. Okay. Yeah, 1 second. There's one more at the bottom of the long Tosfos over here. We have to discuss because there's a very, very wichtige Marshos Kasha. Vim Taimar, look at the bottom Tosfos inside. Vim Taimar, the name of Migu di Tosfos is a gid legavoya. The Asal Aloisai is a Tosfos nami lehedit is achila. Now the Gemara is going to say, Be'ez Hashem. Okay, we're going to see soon a big machlekes legabe memashki yisrael. Right, and this is going to be so you all the alumnus about Mashki Yisrael. It's all on today's blog. Yeah, but I don't know how much of it we're going to be able to hit. I don't know how much of it I know, but we're gonna but this is So but Lamaisa like the man the Amma that holds that is an issa of Mimashki Yisrael, meaning that I'm not allowed to be makriv something. I'm not allowed to be makriv something on the mizbeach. That's what? That's also b'achila. So frek toisvis. Let's say amigu di toisif. Why are we saying that there's a problem of enis and chalalisa? That gid anasha won't be chal on kachim. Kachim is moter baktar. Gid anasha is a of a mashki Yisrael. So the issa of mashki Yisrael should be mitoisif on this gid to make it that it's usher to be. So it should make it issa moisif, and male the issa gid anasha should be chal the gid. That's the kasha of Tosfos. Yeah, so far so good. And Tosfos has no eight. Tosfos says ein chanami. We're going like the mandama, the ikal mandama, v'samach mechubar mi'ali. Yeah, that means, in other words, mechubar mi'ali means if it's attached, then you're allowed to put it on the mizbech. There's no issue of mashki so. But ein chanami, if you have a problem of yicholtzu, if you hold that it has to be removed, that the gid anosha can't go on the mizbech, and the pshat is because it's a mashki so. Zog Tosfos, I'm up the creek. Why? Because it's going to be issa moisef. That's Tosfos' kasha. Yeah? Frek the Marsha, what's the Marsha's kasha? What's the obvious kasha? What's the obvious kasha? It's a slight catch-22 over here. What's the issa to be mal on the mizbeach? The issa to be mal on the mizbeach is only because it's asa lehedyet. Because it's asa lehedyet, then it becomes a mashki Yisrael to asa it to legavaya. But I can't. But there is no issa. There is no issa lehedyet. Why? Because it ain't issa chalalisa. The Taich of Mashki Yisrael, it's a pasuk in the Navi says that you only give on the mizbeach something that's presentable, like such a kind of a thing, like Mashki Yisrael, something that's Rashi and I think it's in Shai. I'm not sure where it is, or maybe Cheskel. Rashi says that it's mashke is the ultimate of food. Rashi says you eat and then you drink. That's the so something that's presentable enough for Klai Yisrael, that you can put on the mizbech. But if it's something that even Klai Yisrael is not going to eat, that you don't put on the mizbech. That's the Issa Mashki Yisrael. Now, yeah, Zok Tosfos that Vibalt is going to be a Issa Mashki Yisrael on Issa Gid Anasha, right? Kachim, there's no Issa Mashki Yisrael, right? There's only Issa of Gid Anasha. So Memela als Mimashki Yisrael, it should bleibe als Mimashki Yisrael, the Issa Gid should bleibe a Issa Moisef. And why do we have a problem of this Gid Anasha being Chal and Mukdashim? I'll tell you why it's Chal. It's Chal because of Mimashki Yisrael.
It's also a hedged.
Yeah, it's also a Legavai. Until now, not Gid Anosha, without the Issa Gid Anosha Fakert, it's Muktashim, it belongs on the Mizbech. The Issa Gid Anosha says that it can't go on the Mizbech.
But Mashke Yitzhak is not really dim in the food, it's a dim in the Mizbeach. What's ready for the Mizbeach?
Oh boy.
The other thing is a dim actually in the...
And it makes a difference, Lugabi Issa Moisa would make a difference? I don't know, I'm not sure. Oh yeah, that's already
It
in
can't
there.
be a must of an Isser that's not on the thing.
This is the Marshal's kasha. This is the Yisodus the Marshal's kasha. Yeah. This is very, very fundamental. The Marshal Hikshem, the my kasha the Tosfos does the Gavoya. Hakoma does the Gavoya who misham Mashki Yisrael. The Choma the Mutal the Gavoya who min Mutal Yisrael. V'hacha b'vlad kachim the full mag the Kaimelon like Nesel Yisrael mitam de Nisachal Lisa memelo shari gab the Gavoya. Yeah?
We're not done with toil. It's also.
Oh,
The sug is the
this is Rabbi Chanan's word. Zak Rabbi Chanan, what's the word Mashki Yisrael? Mashki Yisrael, I don't need the label of Isser. It's not the Isser that makes Mashki Yisrael. It's the source of Mashki Yisrael. Because this is something that is inappropriate for Yisrael, that's something that was Nesa L'Gavaya. I mean, the source of Mimashki Yisrael, Lamaisa Seif Kol Seif. This is a Gid Anosha, and a Gid Anosha is inappropriate legavoya. So Krabbachonan, so Memelu Taisus held. So obviously this is something that's inappropriate on the Mizbech because it's a Gid Anosha. I lehedyet for some sort of a technicality that the Issa wasn't Chal, it wasn't later. Yeah, but that's not saying the Issa Chal. Listen, Lemaisa the Issa wasn't Chal, but the source of the Issa is awesome. That's what Bechonan's word. But I want to know if maybe we could say a Pung Fakert word. Mamish Pung Fakert. Everybody declares what Mimashki Yisrael says at the end of the day. Yeah? Is Mashki Yisrael, is it a mirror? Is it a new Isser? What is it? What do you say, right? Is Mashki Yisrael just an expansion of the original Isser? That the pshat is, it's an expansion of the Isser of Gid Anosha. That Gid Anosha is included on Gavaya as well. If Gid Anosha is included on Gavaya, so what's your kasha? That it can't be chal on Hedyet because they're Nisa Chal Alissa, and Memela won't be chal on Gavaya. No, I'm arguing that it's not a Nisa Chal Alissa because it's a Maisiv. The original Issa is a Maisiv. It's not a separate Issa, it's not a two-step process. Mimashki Yisrael is not a new step. That the pshat is first it has to be chal on a hedyet, and then afterwards it passes it on. That's not what Mimashki Yisrael is. Mimashki Yisrael is an expansion of the original Issa. That the original Issa says that whatever's also hedyet is also l'gavaya as well. So you want to know, Frektoisis, that how you're talking, there should be a problem in Issa Chal Isser. This Issa of Gid Anosha is a very, very big Isser. It's an Issa that's bigger than Kachim, because this Isser includes Kachim, because Mimashki Yisrael expanded the Isser of Gid Anosha. No, that would be a Shtaka Malach also. Again, both my vart and your vart are both going into the kishka of what Mimashki Yisrael is. Is the pshat that the Torah didn't want something because if it's inappropriate for Klal Yisrael, so that you don't bring it to L'Gavaya, or the Torah didn't want something that's that thing that for whatever, if it's inappropriate for Klal Yisrael, it must be inappropriate for you as well. Is it because it's also for the right? So you're saying, but in other words, this Hakira is the source of the shayla both for my teretz and for your teretz. Both of them is the question like this: did the Torah care because Klal Yisrael can't eat it? That's why it's not good l'gavaya, or the Torah cared about the problem in this thing, the underlying issue, and the underlying issue is the problem, right? So the way Rabbi Chanan learned it, that the pshat is it's the underlying issue. That since it's the underlying issue, so I don't even care if the issa was chal l'maisa, right? If the issa was chal. Who cares if the issa was chal? L'maisa seif kol seif, the underlying issue was here, even if there's no issa. Right? And here we're saying it slightly a different way. We're saying with the same svara here that the pshat is since the Torah cared about the underlying issue, the Torah expanded that original issa because the Torah cared about the underlying issue, not because of Isser. We don't care about Isser. Because of the underlying issue, that's what the Torah said that it's also l'gavaya and it's also l'hediyah. Okay, good, givaldik, very very gishmak. Lamda shashayla. Two towards let's move on. Yeah, there is another issue here. Maybe we'll get to on other days. There's a mashal that behandles another step here, but let's leave it here. Let's leave it here. Yeah, let's go back there. Okay, good. Gishmak. Okay, Sakti Gemara. Amar Abchia Bar Yosef. Lo yishanu. Amar Abchia Bar Yosef. Lo yishanu el kachim ha'necholim. That's all talking about kachim ha'necholim, and the shaila is about eating it. Avol kachim she'enim necholim, like oila egg, issa gid noib. Issa gid is totally doesn't. It was not said by oila. Rabbi Yochanan Amar echad kachim ha'necholim, echad kachim she'enim necholim, issa gid noib. Amar Rav Papa. Now we're going to see that the gesois are not clear here. But let's we're going to read it how it says l'faneinu. Amar Rav Papa v'lepligi kan lahal koisoi. What? There's no machlekes here. Sai Rabbi Yochanan and Sai Rabbi Chia Bar Yosef are not arguing. Well, they're just talking about two different things. That the pshat is by kachim kachim she'enim nechalim. There's avada. You're going to get malchus for eating it if somebody eats it, right? Kan lahal koisei, kan lahal loisei. One is talking about eating it. That if you're going to eat it, avada gen anosh is still noig ben. If one were to eat the gid hanosha of oil, but now you want to know about being mal on the mizbeach, there's no issa. Kan la loisei, that there's no issa of being mal. Ikadamri Amarav Papa v'loy pligi kan lechaltzoi v'kan lahaloisoi. That they're not arguing that everyone's masking that there is a din of Giranosha that it can't go on the Mizbech. However, the shaila is, do I have to take it out, or I don't have to take it out? I just can't put it on individually. But if it's together with the in the aver, leave it there. That's la loisei. L'chaltzei, I'm not mechuyev to take it out, right? La loisei meaning to put it up independently. Avadi you can't, and it's a gid is noig ben. But l'chaltzei to be mechuyev to remove it, I don't have a chiv to remove it. Yeah.
Why isn't this again noig because you change the chol?
What did you say?
Means it.
But it's like this. The first version of Rav Papa, there is no Issa B'chlal HaKtorah whatsoever. It wasn't said, Gid Anasha was not said L'Gavid Mizbech. And that's how Rashi says. And Agavurcha, the Marsha, who wants to learn that there's three shittas in the Sugya, and the Marsha, we're going to see, the Marsha learns, maybe we should shtel avek like that, maybe to be misader at the nicest. The way the Mashal learns, and he makes it that there's no machlekes asugya here, and he learns that there's three mahalchim in the sugya. You could either learn that everybody it's not a machlekes tanoim, or you can hold it's a machlekes tanoim, or you can hold it's not a machlekes tanoim the other way. Rav Papa holds there's no machlokes tanoim. Everybody holds that it's mutter. You can put it on the mizbech. Yeah, everybody holds like that. That's what Rav Papa holds. We're going to see soon. Rav Nachman Yitzchak holds that it's a machlokes tanoim if you can go on the mizbech or not. And Rav Huna on Amud Beis is going to hold that it's no machlokes. Everybody holds that it's also to go on the mizbech. That's how the Mashal learns the Gemara. I'm not sure if it was smart to tell you before the Gemara or after the Gemara. I thought it was Kedai afterwards, but now I'm giving it to you as before. Okay? That the Pshat is like this. Rav Papa just said, and that's the pasuk that Rashi brings, which is really the Gemara's pasuk from on Amud Beis, not Rebbe. That's Mashal's Raya. That Rav Papa says, guys, this has nothing to do with the Sugya. Has nothing to do with the sugya. Rebbe and the Rabbanon with the brayso that we're going to bring has nothing to do with the sugya. Gira Nosha is not noig v'kuliyam b'say Rebbe and say Rabbanon. That is shitas. That's shitas Rav Papa, which is Rashi just said. Bnei Yisrael, the pasuk, which actually is going to be in conversation with Rav Huna. Against Rav Huna that says that it's also on the mizbech. So the one that asks on him, he says. It says, Al kain lo yochlu b'nei Yisrael v'loiksev lo yochlu ha-mizbeach. Amemela, the mizbeach is completely unaffected by the is of Gid Anasha. That is Rav Papa Shita. Yeah, Rav Huna is going to hold the reverse, that everybody holds that the Gid Anasha is included, and Rav Nachman Yisrael is going to hold this Cholin Machlekes. Yeah, that's going to be a Shita. Okay, zokti more right. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Amar la lo yisei pligi detanya, and the machlekes is totally the machlekes tanoim. And so taken economy that machlekes is this machlekes tanoim. So what he did was he didn't minimize all the machlekes because there's still a machlekes Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Chia Bar Yosef, but he minimized that there's no problem with Rav Huna and Rav Papa. Okay. The Tanya Victor Kohen is a kolam mizbech al rabbis hatzamos v'akidim akarnayim v'atlafim. that hakol, that you're supposed to be makta everything on the mizbech, which includes everything, even these non-edible parts. That's almost vagid makanai matlafim yachal afilu pirshu tamaloim v'asisa l'secha habasa v'adam dafke basa and dam, and not these other unedible parts. Frek the brayso aleini basa v'adam yachal yachloit gidim ve'atzamas v'yal basa l'gam mizbech. I would think that you have to separate it. Tamaloim v'iktar koyin etzakol mizbecha. Okay, it's simple. Mechubarim yalu pirshu afilu b'rosh hashanah mizbech yedu. Yeah. That's the price. So we're going to do a shakvataya, and this all hoysafa. This is important to realize that this hoysafa is all Nachmei Yitzchak, and this is the argument of Masha that Rav Papa and Rav Huna aren't going to agree with this next part of the hoysafa. Right? The beginning was a brisa, but the rest of the shtickle is all Nachmei Yitzchak's hoysafa and his explanation that it vibes the machlekes Rebbe and the Chachamim, and that's what he's going to say is the machlekes the Gabi Gidon Nasha as well. Rabbi, who's the one that holds like this brisa that holds Pirshu Yerdu? It's Dafke Rebbe. The Tanya Victor Akoin is a called Rabbi Sat Thomas Agid Madu Vakanai Batlofim Vafilu Pirshu. That what? That no. Victor Akoin is a called Rabbi Sat Thomas Agid Vakanai Afilu Pirshu. Not like the brisa before. Right? Right? This is not like the price that we just brought. Right? And Vasisa is only coming to be moitzi these non-edible parts if they popped off. But if they didn't pop off, even Pirshu Yalu. Okay, the Gidim Atzamas are nismayit legabe poikim, but Pirshu Yalu. That is not like the brisa Rebbe. And now here Rebbe is going to be like the brisa we brought the first version. Rebbe Yoima Kosu V'Echadayim Victor Kohen Sakol Ribo. The Kosu V'Echadayim Vasisa L'Secha Basu Adam Miet. Okay, tzad Mechubarim Yalu Pirshu Afilu B'Rosh Hashem Mizbeach Yerdu. Right? Okay? So we brought down a brisa and we explained that first brisa is all going like Rebbe because the Chachamim argue. The Chachamim argue and they say that the difference in between Gidim Atzamas and Basu Adam is not legabe Pirshu Yalu. It's been a gap pike. So the shaila is, but how did the Rabbanan know such a chiddush? So the Rabbanan are saying that the pshat is that the Hikdar HaKoyin as HaKol HaMizbecha is coming to be marbe even Pirshu, right? Why? I need the pasuk from Mechubar. How do they know to say that Hikdar HaKoyin as HaKol is Afilu Pirshu B'Rosh Hashem Mizbeach? How do I know? Maybe Pirshu is Yalu. Why? How do they know? Maybe it's coming only to be marbe Mechubar. So the Gemara no Mechubarim v'Rabbanan Mechubarim leitzachra. Why? V'Rabbanan Mechubarim leitzachra l'Rabboyim midi dehavi Rosh Hashanah. Since the Torah said that the Rosh Hashanah, the Rosh goes up, and the Rosh Hashanah is by definition a bones. It's bones and meat. It's Mechubarim. So vice dois Mechubarim is Yalu that we don't need a pasuk. So Kol is coming to be mice or something. Ki Yitzur Kol lePirshu. Yeah. So now back to we kicked it back to Rebbe. So what's Rebbe going to answer to that kasha of that luchura? Let's learn out everything from Rosh Hashanah. Why do I need a pasuk from Mechubarim Mechalal and right? And why do I need a pasuk from Mechubarim that Mechubarim Yalu luchura? It should be extra for Pirshu. So for Rebbe Mechubarim that Teira Leitzur Kraler Boye. Kitzur Kra, look at that Nasha b'mechubar. The Echanami, a regular mechubarim. I don't need a pasuk. Why don't I need a pasuk? Because I learned that from Rosh Hashanah, and Rosh Hashanah tells me that mechubarim yalu. Right? So where do I need Padzak Rebbe? I still need a pasuk of what? Of Hikta HaKoyin as HaKol for mechubarim. Where do I need a pasuk of Hikta HaKoyin HaKol for mechubarim? Zak Rebbe. for Gid Anosha. Gid Anosha b'mechuber. That what? That it's something that's aser. So I would think. Let me just finish off and then we'll do the chazar. Yeah. So Rebbe says. So bottom line is like this. So Rebbe holds that there's no question about it that there's a pasuk that says of that V'ikter HaKohen is HaKol HaMizbechi. Even though the Torah says V'asisa L'secha Basar Adam that the main carbon is the basar and the dam and not all the non-edible parts. But on the other hand, the Torah says V'ikter HaKohen is HaKol HaMizbechi. And the question is, what's V'ikter HaKohen HaKol HaMizbechi coming to be Moisef? That's the question. That is the question. So V'ikter HaKohen is HaKol HaMizbechi is coming to be Moisef. Something. What is it coming to be Moisef? So Rebbe says it's coming to be Moisef when these non-edible parts are attached, and I need a pasuk for when they're attached, and the Chachamim say, no, I don't need a pasuk for that. I don't need a pasuk for when they're attached. Why don't I need a pasuk when they're attached? Because I see from Rosh Hashanah. Says a memela. What do I need a pasuk? Where is it coming to say? We're coming to say that I'm bringing a raya even pirshu, even if it's separated, it's yal. That V'ikter HaKohen is HaKol HaMizbechi, even yal. So what's the difference in between the non-edible parts and the edible parts? By poikin. That's the rabbanon.
You mean poking, you went off.
Popped off. Yeah. So now, okay. So what does Rebbe hold? What does Rebbe hold? What happened to Rosh Hashanah? The Teretz says Rebbe says that I need it for mechubarim. In which case? In a case of Gid Anosha. Because Gid Anosha is aser. I would think I can't put on the mizbeach. Kamash Malon, that what mechubarim yalu by Gid Anosha. What do the Chacham hold by the Gid Anosha? They hold no. You're not allowed to put the Gid Anosha because Mashki Yisrael. So Beketz and Nimrods. The Hektar HaKohen is HaKol HaMizbeach. The way Ramach Bar Yitzchak learns it, the Hektar HaKohen is HaMizbeach is a machlokes. Rabbi says it's coming to be marbe that I could be mala to get anosha b'mechuber, and the Chachamim say no, memashki Yisrael. Memashki Yisrael. It can't be coming to tell you get anosha. Memashki Yisrael. So what is V'ikter HaKohen is coming to tell you? It's coming to tell you that even Pirshu you're allowed to be marked there. Very simple.
Pirshu to get anosha.
No, Pirshu of Basim Gidvan Thomas. Yeah. Again. The part there's no question about it. The pasuk says that Basar Adam is what a carbon is made out of, right? And Kipshuta, you would think it's only meat and only meat and blood. But the Torah also said the Rosh Hashanah, and Rosh Hashanah is when it's attached. The whole thing goes up. So therefore, the Shura Chitzayna, the Svara Chitzayna is that Mechubarim is Yalu. Mechubarim is Yalu, that we don't need any pasuk. So where do we need the pasuk of the Hektar HaKohen is HaKol HaMizbecha, that non-edible things also go on the Mizbeach, is a machlokes, the way Ramach Bar Yitzchak learns. Rabbi says it's coming to be marbe Gid Hanosha, and the Chacham say, no, Gid Hanosha is also because it's Mimashki Yisrael, and therefore it's coming to be marbe Pirshu Yalu. Clear? Yeah. Now, Zokti Gemara v'Rabbanan Mimashki Yisrael Menamot Yisrael. Now, it's very important to recognize what this Mimashki Yisrael is over here in Rebbe, in the Chachamim, because they're not arguing. Rebbe's also masking them Mimashki Yisrael, but Rebbe holds that the Hektar HaKohen is HaKol HaMizbecha is coming to say to be mighty from Mimashki Yisrael, right?
And you did.
Right.
And you didn't get anosha.
Right, and so when the Chachamim argue Mimashki Yisrael, what they're arguing is no, Mimashki Yisrael is so strong that it's not mistaber that the Torah came to be mighty from Mimashki Yisrael. Yeah, it's very important that. Okay, Kitzur Kol Gid Anosha Mechubar Rabbanan Mimashki Yisrael Menamot Yisrael for Rebbe Midahavi Achele V'Dam. Achele V'Dam. That what? The Achele V'Dam. Chelev V'Dam is also legavoy, is also lehedyet, but it's mutal Yisrael, right? It's what? Okay, it's mutal gamoy. Okay, chel v'dam is what the ikaktor is, right? So memela avad it is mutal yisol. So memela, so it's not a taina mashki yisol. V'rabonon mitzvasam bekach shani. So right. So Rabbanan argue that it's not mistaber at the person of saying of the Akronis HaKol HaMizbech is coming to be marbe the Gina Noshe because of Mashki Yisrael. But on the other hand, mitzvasam bekach the chelu v'dam, that makes sense to say that there's a yotz menakla. Yeah, klar. Yeah, okay. All the svaras, fine. We'll get to it. Now there's a lot of Torah on the Mishalom that Rashi says. Rashi uses much of a treifa. Yeah, when Rebbe says mi dahavi achil v'dam, right? That what? Mi dahavi achil v'dam. Okay, so what's Rebbe do with Mashki Yisrael, right? V'chik siv min amoisel Yisrael zok Rashi lemuti treifa. Avo min habasa karev kulay. Right? Yeah, it's a pasuk in Yecheskel. I think it's a pasuk in Yecheskel. It's a pasuk in Rashi and Mikru b'Sefer Yecheskel. Yeah. Okay. Zog the Gemara weiter. Let's move on because it's getting very, very, very late. Zog the Gemara weiter. Omer Ravuna. Here comes Ravuna. And Kipshuta Ravuna is like what happened to the whole sugi before. What happened to the Machlekes Tanaim? The Teretz is Zog the Mashah. Ravuna argues. He holds the Izlos Machlekes Tanaim b'chal. He holds the Kuli Alma. This is the Kuli Alma. Omer Ravuna Gira Noshe Shel Oila Choltzoi L'Tapuach. Choltzoi L'Tapuach. Now here, I'm just going to mention it because as Talmidei Brisk we have to at least mention it. But even though there's a lot of Torah here. There's a famous verse from the Brisker Rav that the Brisker Rav brings a raya from a Gemara in Tmura that what's the tapuach? You know what tapuach is? The tapuach is that in the mizbech they had the marach, separate fires, and then in the middle there was a pile. For some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason, something that's round and a mound in the middle is called the tapuach. That's where that's the length they call it a tapuach. So kipshutoi. The tapuach is what is it's a glorified garbage. I mean, it's the place where you put the it's not Haktorah, right? It's not Haktorah. Avad it's not going to be Haktorah, and that's why over here Ravuna is going to argue that the Gina Noshe Shel Oila is Choltzei L'Tapuach. You take it on the Rosh Hashanah Mizbech, you remove it out, but you don't put it on the Maracha. You put it on the.
Not Haktorah.
Not Haktorah. What? Yeah, that's Pashtus, right? But the Briskerov and the Gedel Achronim bring a raya from the Sukkah like that. But the Briskerov has a raya from Gemara and Tzmura that the Tapuach is a Haktorah. So what's the pshat now, Gemara? That Ravuna says the Gina Noshe Shel Oila, you can't be maked to it. You just put it on the tapuach. What do you help? What do you gain if the tapuach is also aktorah? So what do you help by being close to the tapuach? So Biskarov Mamish uproots the ganze shtickle Torah. He says that avad tapuach is avad tapuach is aktorah. But we have to reimagine what Memashki Yisrael is. Memashki Yisrael never was an Isser Haktorah. Memashki Yisrael was the lack of a Chiyav Haktorah. Misvara, Kipshuta, it's Memashki Yisrael, you're allowed to put on the Mizbech. Something that's not Memashki Yisrael, you're not allowed to put on the Mizbech. Piskov says no. Memashki Yisrael tells you that the pshat is that there's no Chiyav Haktorah. So if I'm going to put it on the Maracha, so it's going to get a Chiv Haktorah, it's being put on the Maracha. But once I put it on the Tapuach, that's a place where it has the ability to be Haktorah, but it doesn't have a Chiv Haktorah, it's not going to give you a Chiv Haktorah, and Memela, I can put it on the Tapuach and not anything. That's how Briskerov learns. Okay? I'm just telling you what the Briskerov says. But Yichab, what we're doing over here is we're reimagining already Mashki Yisrael Mikoyach this kasha. But okay, the kasha in Tumur is a good kasha.
Pashtus means you're not allowed to put it on the...
Yeah, Pashtus. Yeah, okay. Sagt die mal weiter. Gid anoshe shaloi lechol tzil tapuach. Amrav Chisda. Amrav Chisda. Mori dichi miksiv al kain lo yoichal hamizbeach al kain lo yoichlu b'nei Yisrael ksiv. V'ravuna b'mashki Yisrael m'nam b'tal Yisrael. Yeah. So the veld.
Oh, they don't mashki Yisrael. It's whether you get candy eat, right?
It's a plea. It's a plea.
Scroll, yeah?
What?
Scroll's a pearl, yeah?
No. You're saying Stam Brisgrove. Stam. What's the shakavataya? What was his thing? Al kain leyomer leyechel hamizbeach. Al kain leyechlu b'nei Yisrael ksiv. What do you mean? That's the whole definition of mimashki Yisrael. Is something it doesn't say leyechel hamizbeach. It says leyechel Yisrael, and because of that, whatever's leyechel Yisrael is leyechel b'nei Yisrael is leyechel hamizbeach. This is the big kasha on the sugya. What was this shakavataya in the sugya? Exactly what did Rav Huna say? This is Psavar from Zechi Yitzchak. But I just want to say, Lefi our raid yesterday, it could be the Gemara is being medayik from the Loyechlu B'nei Yisrael. This is something Dafka B'nei Yisrael. This was something we said. Yisrael was never asked. Not Al-Kain Le'echli Yisrael as Gid Anosha. No, it's Dafka the Bnei Yisrael. This was Klal Yisrael was this halacha had to do with Klal Yisrael because their relationship with Yaakov Avinu and their what's it called? They have this din of Gid Anosha. This is a very 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 specific, and it's mistaba. It's smart also. It has nothing to do. There's nothing. Let's say you're svara, right? You were saying that that there's something wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with the Gid Anasha. This is remind Klal Yisrael of something that some kind of a relationship they have with Yaakov Avinu, but it has nothing to do. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not tamei. It's not masriach. It's not some. There's nothing wrong with this Gid Anasha. Maybe that would be a husband maybe for this Gemara. What Rav Chiz was arguing. Okay, so to my right, Meisvei Akashem Gid Anoshe Shoshlami Mechabdei Lama Mechabdei Lama means lotion of you sweep it up. Lama is the irrigation. The I mean, it's a nice way of saying a sewer, right? The sewer that was running there. Mechabdei Lama V'Shal Olam Aleyu. My love, Maleu Maktiroi. So it's a kasha on Rav Huna because Rav Huna said you get Anosha Shaloi L'Chol Tzoi L'Tapuach. So the Gemara no. Loi Maleu V'Chol Tzoi. You bring it up and you remove it there again. This is the shmooze that we spoke about yesterday. The removal of the gid is a big issue here, right? Because it's a whole process of you have to be mechat tacharov and get in there. Yeah, maleu maktiroi. V'chimiacha fraktimar akasha. No, maleu v'cholzoi. Umiacha shecholzoi lama maleu. If you're ready, if you have to take it out, if you're taking it out, so why do you bring it up? Why do you bring it up to take it out? Lama maleu. So tomorrow mishum shenema hakiveu no lefechosecha. Since it says hakiveu no lefechosecha, which means that that this is a pasuk in Malachi that says that would you present such a thing to a nobleman, such a kind of a thing. That's what the Navi had tinus and klaisel that were sending karbanis that are inappropriate. Would you give this to would you present this to somebody who's some fechasechas is somebody who's a governor or something. So over here also, Gemara that the pshat is if you're going to have to open it up and remove the Gid Anosha, it's going to becomes a little dicey, becomes a little inappropriate. So maybe we bring it up on the mizbeach all together, and then on the mizbeach we take it out. Yeah. Yeah, good. You were working with Hagavir and Al-Fechasach yesterday. Okay, right. Okay, so tomorrow, right. The Tanya comes to the Rav Huna. Tanya comes to Rav Huna. Again, I know Shlosh Lam Mechav Diloma. Shal Oila Cholz L'Tapuach. Mefurish. Tanan Hosam. So tomorrow, Tanan Hosam Tapuach. Oye Be'emtza Mizbech. So now we're going to go a little bit slightly I got the tabuch hay be'emtza mizbeach pa'amim haya olav kishalish meis kor. Sometimes it was so loaded up, had 300 core loaded up on this big pile. Amar Rava guzma. It doesn't mean it was that. It doesn't mean it was takashalish meis kor. That's impossible. There's no place for that. This is an extreme. Hashku es atamid b'koishal zav. The halacha is the Mishnah says that before they shechted the carbon tamid, the first thing they did was they gave the animal some water. Why they give it water? Because you give it water. If you give it water, the mitzvah says if the animal is hydrated, then the skinning process is easier. The skin comes right off. The water. We have it also. By the way, by us also, by humans also. If somebody drinks, it goes right away into their skin. It's good for chapped hands, etc.
Makes it easier to get blood.
What?
Makes it easier to get blood.
Oh yeah, also same thing. But even though it's seconds, it's unbelievable how So bottom line is the halacha is that there would be mashke the tamid. So there would be mashke the tamid. So the Mishnah says hashkas hatamid b'koishel zov with a golden kais. So Sakrava, there's no din to use a golden kais. No such a din. Amarava guzma. Yeah, it's an extreme. Yeah, it's a exaggeration is the word, right? Guzma over here means an exaggeration. Amar Avami dibur Torah lashon havai, dibur neviim lashon havai, dibur chacham lashon havai. There's three side of Torah, side of neviim, and side of chachamim all use lashonis that were not exact. Lashon havai means not exact. In other words, an exaggeration. Dibur chacham lashon havai hada amaron. Chacham lashon havai is these two mishnayos that we just had. Dibur Torah lashon havai arim gedolos uvitzuros b'shamayim. Arim gedolos uvitzuros b'shamayim. You don't have cities in the shamayim. We mean it goes all the way up to the sky. It goes up to the sky. That's a guzma. Dibur neviim lashon havai v'atibaka aretz l'kolam. That the land broke. That the land split for the so much noise. Obviously, this is all guzma, and guzma it's part of it's a style of speaking. It's not. There's nothing wrong with that. Which is interesting that there's no that the kais shel zav is not mentioned. So both Rashi and Tosfos say the reason why that Yitzchak Bar Nachmani is arguing with Rava. Rava said that kais shel zav is a lashon guzma, and Yitzchak Bar Nachmani is arguing, and he holds that no kais shel zav was dafka because that there was a din to use kais shel zav, not out the klisharis, but giving the animal water doesn't have a din of klisharis, but it's out anis b'makam ashiris. It will be a anis b'makam ashiris to give the animal, even if you just bringing in water for the cow. That's already anis b'makam ashiris if you're not going to use a golden kli. So tapuach gefen u'perechis. Tapuach the amar. Tapuach is the amar that we said that there was an exaggeration. We said sholish meis kor. Sholish meis kor. That's a murdiga gozma. Gefen shows off hoisay medis al pischa shel hechel. There was a golden vine that was hung on the door of the hechel. Umudla al gabe klunsois, and it was hung on sticks. And if somebody wanted to donate, and he wanted to donate publicly, so he would be menadiv like a little either a golden grape or a cluster, maybe the tailaba. He would bring it and he would be tailored on this. This was like as a what's called it? It was a big a switchboard of where everybody could be menadiv publicly. That there was so much donations that it took 300 kohanim to harvest all the stuff that was donated. Now, obviously, I just want to be saying that that's a guzma. Obviously, then there's not that the amount that it would take if you needed 300 kohanim would be an unbelievable amount. But what's Rabbi Eliezer Bar Tzadik's point over here? I just want to point out what's the point here. What the point is that this mahalach works. That don't think. Obviously, there's always a concept of giving something be'ilam shem, but on the other hand, there's the opposite effect of if you do something publicly, you inspire others to do it, and that's why the Gemara wants to say that this was a method that worked. So,
It's a shiloh, if you give donations,
yeah.
you even call
Yeah. So yeah. Well, yeah. So tomorrow, right? Yeah. Yeah. So tomorrow, right? Paroiches. Where's the guzma by Paroiches? That now Reb Shimon Gamliel Reb Shimon Askan. Paroiches oivya tefach. The Paroiches was a tefach thick. Val shivim ushnayim nirim nereges, and it was when it was woven. It was woven on 62. The loom had 62 warps. Yeah, 62 lines. Va'al kol nima esim ve'arba chutim. On every nima, in each nima, there was 24 chutim. Arka arbaim be'ama ayver rachba esrim be'ama. So this is interesting. What's the arka arbaim be'ama v'rachba esrim be'ama? So this is the size of the entrance to the ulam, right? The ulam had a door, right? The ulam had a door, so right, and the ulam's entrance was 40 tall and 20 wide, right? So, but it had a door, not a pareiches. Why are we having this pareiches by the ulam? So Rashi says two pshat. Either the door had a pareiches right behind it as well for its tznius. That was a tznius thing that when you open up the door, you don't it's not wide open. There's still a pareiches behind it. Or Rashi says that the entrance to the heichal, which was right behind the entrance to the ulam, was also the same size as the entrance to the ulam. Yep. Sagt maar weiter. Va'al nima esem ve'arba chutim. We said that. Umishmoinim Ushtei riboy neses, and it was made out of 820,000 threads. That's how Rashi said. That's the Girsa Lefanenu. Rashi also says brings a Girsa that it was made out of mishmoinim ushtei riva, a lashon of young girls. Nesses, that it took 82 girls to make it. Ushtayim oisim b'shana. They made 2 every year. V'shalish, where's the guzma? So far, so good. Where's the guzma? V'shalish, meis kainim atilin oisai. And there was 600, and it took 300 kainim. It was so heavy that it would take 300 kainim to drop it into the mikvah and to take it out if it ever got tameh. And that is a guzma. Obviously, it wasn't that big. Yeah, it should need 300 kainim. That's like not shaykh. Yeah, that's the one. Now I just want to say a moed gavart really quickly because it's mamish. It's mamish in Yana Diyayma. I don't want to fall behind, but okay, we're gonna fall behind. Let's go back. You want to go back? Let me just say this vart. It's mamish in Yana Diyayma. It's mamish interessant. There's a Welt Kasha. The Welt Kasha is that there's a famous Gemara in Yuma that says that Rabbi Yossi says that he went to Rome and he got a look at the Paroiches in Rome. He got into the Vatican. He saw the Paroiches, right? It's a famous story how he got access. He davened for the chveis for the thing, and he gave him access to go look at the Kalim. And there's a few memories of Rabbi Yossi when he was on the Yossi B'Rayim, right? And the Gemara in Yuma brings it down, but again, knowing how the Kohen Gadol did the zrika in front of the pareiches. Zok Rabbi Yossi, I was b'Rayim and I saw the zrika. Yeah. I saw the blood, and the blood wasn't straight, it was not straight. Yeah, that's the Gemara. Maybe the Gemara wants to say that there was no blood on the pareiches, and Rabbi Yossi says, I saw the pareiches and there was blood on it. Yeah, that's the Gemara. Frek de Welt Akasha. What's the Grace Araya? You want to know why there's blood on the pareiches? In Rome? We know why there's blood on the pareiches in Rome. Because we just learned the story with Titus that Titus was doiker. He made a dekira, right? And blood came out. So what's the grace of raya that there's blood on the pareiches? The blood on the pareiches is Titus's blood. It's not coming from the Kohen Gadol. That's the kasha that the Welt asked. There's a lot of terutzim to this teretz. But I want to say from this Gemara, Gavaldik Teretz, that the pshat is that there's more than one pareiches. You think what happens? They made two pareiches in a year, right? They made two pareiches in a year, right? So what they do with the two pareiches right away went into the garbage. Right away, there were pareiches hanging around. Right? And when they came to Rome, they had a whole bunch of pareiches in there. Rabbi Yossi, obviously, is being made that this was not a pareiches that had a big gash in it. It was obviously not the pareiches that Titus gave a big gash. It's another pareiches. And this other pareiches, which without the gash, had blood on it. It was obviously the pareiches of the Kohen Gadol. Huh? Okay, that's what I want to say. Okay, you want to start the Gemara Levaito, or you want to pick it up tomorrow from over here?